Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode of Rippin' the Fence, we're going to be breaking down everything we saw from Martinsville Speedway. But before we hop into the video, I just want to quickly remind you guys, hit that like button and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it if you guys did that. You can also check out my social media links down below in the description. Let's go ahead and hop into the video. Matthew, my friend and co-host, is joining me. And we've had a few days to process what's happened from Martinsville. We've listened to all the podcasts and everything, so a lot to talk about in this video about, the short track package. We had some beef in the middle of the week. We had a special win for Hendrick Motorsports, so a lot to talk about. But Matthew, quickly, how are you doing before we go ahead and hop into things?
Well, I feel much better doing this video than I did last week because I was sick last weekend and I did not sound good last video. So hopefully I sound much better this time. Yeah, I was sick this weekend, so um, I, I think I picked the perfect weekend to be sick because I was just chilling, trying to get better, just watching the Hendrick Motorsports 400 presented by Exalta this weekend. So, yeah, speaking of, let's get right into that because we either have a lot to talk about or not so much to talk about this weekend.
Yeah, so to start off, I'll leave the Truck and Xfinity race for the end if we have time, because there's a lot of stuff to break down from the Cup Series race. So honestly, the first 3 quarters of this race, not too much happened, except in stage 2, Joey Logano took 2 tires, I believe, at the start of stage 2, and made it all the way to the end of stage 2. So he went 180 laps, I think, on 2 left side tires. And um, yeah, that's kind of where this video starts, is with tire wear. So Joey Logano ran 180 laps on 2 left side tires and maintained the lead for most of that. And then Denny Hamlin passed him like very late in the stage as they got stuck in traffic to win the second stage there. And then in stage 3, with about 100 laps to go, green flag pit stop start. William Byron ends up pitting first out of the leaders. And then the next lap, Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson pit. And then the lap after that, Denny Hamlin comes down. And then as they're cycling out of pit road, Denny Hamlin was the leader. I believe Chase Elliott was second, or Kyle Larson was second, one of those two. And then William Byron was fourth. And William Byron leapfrogged at least Larson, I know for sure. And then so when they came out of pit road, Chase Elliott was in the lead. He got past Denny Hamlin. And then William Byron made his way past Denny Hamlin on the racetrack as well. And then after a few laps, William Byron made his way past Chase Elliott and was in the lead for a while until a caution came out with 3 laps to go. John Hunter Nemechek, I guess, blew a brake rotor or something and ran into the wall in turn 3, brought out the caution, set up overtime, and majority of the leaders stayed out. Denny Hamlin decided to pit, surprisingly. I think he was running 4th at the time, and he restarted 10th or 11th. But on the first 2 rows, it was William Byron on the inside, Chase Elliott on the outside, Kyle Larson on the inside. And from there, it was the Hendrick Motorsports show. William Byron was able to drive away. Chase Elliott actually did give William Byron a bump. I was very surprised that Chase Elliott even tried to move William Byron out of the way. Wasn't quite enough, though. William Byron was able to hang on and get the win. As Matthew said, the Hendrick Motorsports 400 presented by Exalta, HendrickCars.com, UniFirst, Ally, all those sponsors, they just sponsored the Hendrick Motorsports 400 this weekend. So William Byron ended up getting the win. As we look at the race results, we see a 1-2-3 for Hendrick Motorsports. Awesome for them to be able to get that done. Bubba Wallace 4th. Very impressed by Bubba Wallace here, just because, short tracks and road courses hadn't been his thing for the longest time. And besides Denny Hamlin, I'd say Bubba Wallace was the best Toyota, the second best Toyota of the day. So good run for Bubba there. And then the Penske Fords, Blaney and Logano, good runs for them as well. They've kind of had a very up and down start to the season. Alex Bowman, the other Hendrick car, in 8th, and then 2 Stewart-Haas cars to round out the top 10. So I'll quickly start with the race winner, William Byron. It was very interesting because he started 18th, didn't have the best qualifying run, I think he made his way up to 8th in the first stage. And then the second stage, he was kind of quiet still, just kind of second back half of the top 10. And then the third stage, I don't know what they did to that car, but they definitely made some good adjustments. And that pit strategy call helped him get a little bit more track position. And it seemed by the end of the race, he had the best car. So uh, I don't want to say out of nowhere, because it seemed like Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and Denny Hamlin kind of had the best cars of the day. But William Byron, they really made some adjustments to bring that car to life in that third stage there to get the win. Um, and like I said, awesome for Hendrick Motorsports to be able to get that win. They were celebrating their 40th anniversary, in case none of you knew that watched the Fox broadcast. But yeah, celebrated their 40th anniversary, got a 1-2-3 finish out of it. Really cool for them. And now it's time to get into the main topics of this video, which is the short tracks, because everything, if you listen to any NASCAR podcast or watch any NASCAR YouTube video this week, everybody is talking about the short tracks and how in Martinsville you just couldn't pass. The tires were terrible, and it's true. I already alluded to the tires. Joey Logano went stage 1 and 2 on one set of left side tires and didn't even really have an issue. And then late in the race, the Hendrick cars, they stayed out. Denny Hamlin pitted. I think he restarted 10th. I think he actually lost a position and finished 11th. So tires meant absolutely nothing. And then the whole aero package, quote unquote, if you're going to call it an aero package, NASCAR's like, oh yeah, we're going to adjust the aero package. We're going to adjust the splitter a little bit. We're going to take the rear diffuser off. We're going to do this little thing, that little thing. Well, for short tracks, air does not matter, apparently, because they have tried, it seems like almost everything at this rate with this package, and there has been really no change on the racetrack whatsoever. So, based on all the podcasts I've listened to and YouTube videos I've watched, it looks like the quickest solution to this short track package is tires. And I'll get to that in a second, because, real quick, back to the aero thing. Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, I think it was like Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and maybe one more car. The top 4 or 5, they were catching lap traffic, and they were behind Austin Dillon for probably 50, 60 laps. The leader could not pass Austin Dillon. And when you cannot have the leaders passing through lap traffic, especially cars that much lower than the leaders, you know there's some kind of problem. And Denny Hamlin was saying when he was trying to move somebody out of the way late in the race, and he couldn't even get to their back bumper because the air bubble was so bad. So, aero is not the solution, because NASCAR has tried several different things and it has not worked. So, tires, as we've seen from Bristol, I think that is the most valuable solution. And we saw what happened at Bristol. The tire wear was crazy, a little bit excessive, but we saw that tires made the racing better. So, NASCAR, I think everybody's saying, this is the, black flag, white flag, whatever, like, hello, NASCAR, like, big neon bright sign, you need to fix this package, you need to fix the short tracks right now. I think everybody's finally had enough, and they're letting their voices be known. I really hope NASCAR does something, because at this rate, we're going to have Martinsville and Richmond lose a date next year, and I don't want to see that. And a lot of drivers don't want to see that. A lot of fans don't want to see that, because short tracks are what built NASCAR. And these southeastern tracks, as terrible as Richmond has been the past few years, the times I've been there, the fans still show up. It's not sold out by any means, but the fans still show up for both races every year. Martinsville, the fans show up both races every year. So, yeah, like, I don't want to see these short tracks go. And at this rate, if there's no solution, NASCAR might have to take them off the schedule. And we don't want to see that happen, because we saw NASCAR when the road courses were a thing. They're like, oh yeah, let's add 15,000 road courses to the schedule in 2020 and 2021. And now their road courses aren't that great anymore. So we don't want to see them take too many short tracks off the schedule and then have to, 5 years later, add more short tracks back to the schedule. So, NASCAR's kind of got their hands tied here. I think the NASCAR community is finally fed up and had enough. So hopefully whoever is in charge of this decision can hopefully do something about it. Like I said, tires seem to be the easiest solution to do this. But yeah, I'm going to try and keep my rant short and sweet. I'm sure if you guys have watched any other videos or podcasts, you've listened to plenty of other people rant on about it, and people know a lot more than us about this kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna keep that short and sweet about the short track package. Hopefully, NASCAR and Goodyear can do something in the future. Hopefully before the end of this year, because they have quite a few months before the next short track race. I think Richmond in the summer is the next official short track race, quote unquote. I don't know if they're going to use the package at like New Hampshire or something like that. Maybe, I'm not sure. But Richmond is like the official first short track coming up in
Yeah, they are
August. So
using it in New Hampshire.
they are using it in New Hampshire. That might be a little too early for them to make that kind of change. But yeah, hopefully by Richmond, Bristol, Night, Martinsville, the playoff race, something can be done about this. But anyways, that's really all I have to share about the race and what I saw. Matthew, what about you? Go ahead and share the people what you thought about the race from Martinsville.
Wow, I feel like that is a lot of information you just spewed out, considering while watching this specific race this weekend, I felt like nothing happened other than it was pretty much a forgettable short Martinsville race, like it has been the past couple of years, especially in the spring race. Um, NASCAR Fox was not helping my fun either. They were not helping at all with their once again terrible coverage. Hey, Jimmy, I don't know if you recall this, but apparently Mike Joyce said there was like a wreck on the last lap or something like that, and we never saw a single replay out of it. None. I literally discovered the replay today because Front Row Motorsports on their Instagram posted Michael McDowell's on board, and I see there's a wreck in turn four. Which, hey, credit to NASCAR, they didn't throw the yellow out. Um, I felt like that wreck could have, but I'm surprised they didn't. So credit to them. But once again, Fox was not helping out this pretty much stale race. They were not helping out with their absolute Hendrick Motorsport love fest that they were giving out every single like 5 minutes basically. And let me just say, I get that it's 40th anniversary, that is special. We get that. It's okay to mention that. But when you mention the same exact thing every 5 minutes, it really starts getting on non Hendrick Motorsport fans' nerves. Let's just say that. Heck, I'm sure even some actual Hendrick fans were starting to get a little stale from hearing that every single second. And it was also getting stale every single time they showed that little picnic area in turn two where all those Hendrick people were at every 5 minutes as well. Like, we get it. They work for Hendrick Motorsports. We get it. We don't need to see it every 5 minutes. So, and look, I don't care what people say. No other team is going to get this same type of treatment. I mean, I remember 2021, Joe Gibbs Racing was celebrating their 30th anniversary that year in 2021, and not a single race that we didn't hear this every single 5 minutes. Oh, did you know that Joe Gibbs Racing? He was Joe Gibbs. He was a former Washington coach. Went to NASCAR, and Dale Jarrett gave him the first win at Daytona 500. We didn't hear that every 5 seconds. We didn't hear about all the success they have over the years every 5 seconds. So, or how about with Penske a, a, has their anniversary, their special anniversary? They're not going to get that same treatment. I know that. So it's like, I get it's a big accomplishment. I'm not gonna degrade that. It is a huge accomplishment. Special moment for them. But still, it got seriously old and really annoying. Like, especially when I realized they were doing this before halfway, and I knew this was gonna be a long day. But anyways, moving on. Congrats to William Byron. His third career third career win in the third win in the season correctly. He has more than 3 wins now in his career. But once again, William Byron is breaking another record for Hendrick Motorsports. Willie Byron won, of course, Hendrick's 300th win last year at Texas, which is this coming weekend. And William Byron also won this weekend for Hendrick's 40th anniversary and the first time in Martinsville history that a team finished 1, 2, 3. And William Byron was the one that crossed the line first for that. So William Byron's really edging his name in in Hendrick Motorsports history books here. Um, and I still don't get why there are so many William Byron critics, so many William Byron haters out there. I do not get it. This kid is extremely talented, and his upbringing is none unlike any driver right now. He didn't get into where he's at because of his last name. He didn't get up there because he started racing when he was 4 years old. His racing career started on a computer, which is pretty much he's William Byron is pretty much going to be the poster child of future NASCAR drivers, where they're going to be starting their careers out in, of course, in the sim, and we've already seen that with Raja Karuf. He started from iRacing. Anthony Alfredo, he started from iRacing, and I think we're going to be seeing more of that down the road. Um, so once again, congrats to William Byron for the historical win for this team, Hendrick Motorsports. Um, so let's get on to the main discussions from this weekend: the racing product. I think it's no secret that this product is absolute dog water. I want to say something else, but I'm not going to. So it was absolute dog water. Let's just say that. Um, I th- I'm and I think pretty much the big solution here to fix this is the tires. I mean, Bristol Motor Speedway this year literally proved to all of us that this was the magic that's going to save these short tracks here. Um, what we saw at Bristol was unlike what we have seen in a long time, where tire management was an absolute key factor to the race. It was no more hard rock tire. You can just run as hard as you can and you'll be just fine. You actually had to have your skill set, which is managing your tires. And we saw at the end of that race, who finished like top three? All the older, experienced guys who have done this for a pretty long time. Back in the day where tire management was always been a big factor, no matter the track. Um, and to this day, we still have no idea how this tire happened at Bristol. And I heard Ellen Sawyer today. I think he was on Sirius XM radio or something like that. And he said that, yeah, the short track racing product is not good, which, I mean, duh, but at least they admit it. Um, and he did mention that a big thing they're looking at right now is pressuring Goodyear to bring the tire that happened at Bristol. And he even mentioned the wet tire from Richmond from the first 30 laps of the race, which that's interesting to hear as well. Maybe we'll get some different tire compound with grooves in it, like a groove tire. That would be interesting. That would be worth a shot. That would be worth a shot there. But yeah, I think the most realistic thing is the Goodyear tires here. They need to find that. They need to get that tire that is wearing out a lot. Maybe not as drastic as Bristol, dramatic as Bristol. Like maybe if they just extend the life, maybe 20, 15, 20 laps more, then it'll be perfect. If they can do that, then this racing product will help a lot because you will see comers and goers. You will see people who are not good with managing tires, and you will see drivers that are professionals at managing tires. And I mean, this I feel like this I feel like this solution is just the more realistic solution. Everyone wants to talk about horsepower, horsepower, horsepower. That's not gonna happen, okay? That's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. NASCAR, for some odd reason, doesn't want to do it. They call it cost cutting, which I think that's an absolute full baloney. It just sounds like an AI generated response to that question. But I mean, Bristol did prove that you didn't need the horsepower to get a good short track race in. All it mattered was the tires. So that's the number one thing, getting getting the tires right. Which I know Goodyear's gonna be scared to death of doing that, but they need to grow some. They need to grow some big boy pants here, and they need to put their big boy pants on and figure something out, because we cannot have any more of this absolute boring snooze fest short track racing. And I would get what you said about Richmond, Martinsville losing a day. Look, I'm one of these people that wants Richmond to lose a day. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's the next gen or Gen 6 car. The racing has not been good no matter the series or the car. That's just my opinion. And I think that track should absolutely lose a day regardless if that racing gets better or not. But as for Martinsville losing a day, it would be the spring race. That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on that. I mean, on one hand, I get it; it's a historical place, but at the same time, I went to Martinsville for many years. I didn't go this year, but I've been going there since I went there since 2013, and a lot. I can tell you, more people will show up to the playoff race than they will the sprint race. I'm just saying. There are a lot more memorable moments in the playoff race than the spring race. No matter the car, by the way. Didn't matter if it was the Gen 6 car with 900 750 or what we have now. So I'm 50-50 on the Martinsville one, but Richmond absolutely lose a day. Absolutely. Um, let's see. Am I missing anything else? Um, it was listening to actions detrimental last night. It was Denny Hamlin brought up a good idea of let Dale Jr. test the tires, and he has to pick it out. He has the right to pick that tire out, which I mean maybe I don't know if Dale Jr.'s up for that, but I'm sure he will. But that would be interesting if Dale Jr. ended up doing a Goodyear tire test at Martinsville or Bristol, wherever one. That is an interesting idea. But anyways, um, that's all I really had to say about the Hendrick Motorsports 400. Once again, regrets to Byron, and yeah, um, I am so glad we're done with short tracks for a while. I'm glad. I can't take any more of this. I can't. I don't know if I would. I don't think my brain will be able to take 3 weeks in a row of short track racing right now. I just can't.
All right, I'm gonna quickly rate the race and do my paint scheme of the race. So be prepared for that as well, because we still have a whole other topic to talk about in this video. But my rating for the race, 4 out of 10, speaks for itself. Paint scheme of the race, a tiny bit biased here, but not in a way that Matthew might think. It's actually going to be Kyle Larson's 40th anniversary car. I feel like the red looked the best on that car. So that's my paint scheme of the race. Matthew, what are you going to rate the race and your favorite paint scheme?
Let's see. What'd you say? What'd you rate your race again?
4 out of 10.
4, huh?
Could have went lower,
Okay.
honestly, but
I'm sorry. I'm just pulling my paint scheme here. Um, I'm gonna go with um. Honestly, I gotta go with a 4 out of 10 as well. I mean, I mean, there were, I mean, there was some. I mean, Willie Byron's pretty much the only car that could pass, apparently. But yeah, it's self-explanatory. It was forgettable. As for my paint scheme race, though, I'm gonna go with Josh Berry's Mobile One scheme. It's simple, but man, that metallic gold with the black. Woo. I mean, I love Kobayashi's paint scheme from Coda a couple weeks ago, but man, that metallic gold, that's much better to me, in my opinion. I mean, just amazing looking.
All right, and our closing thoughts for this video is going to be about some beef between Mr. Denny Hamlin and Marcus Smith. I'm not going to go into full detail of what was said because it got very personal to the point that, yeah, not going to go there. But I will talk about what happened and what caused it. So, apparently, NASCAR drivers are upset with the whole charter deal coming up and the TV deal that SMI, they do not want to give up a percentage of their money to go more towards the drivers for the new TV deal. And drivers are not happy about this because they're looking at SMI and SMI tracks, and drivers don't think that they're putting money back into those racetracks. And just a few examples of some SMI tracks are Texas, Atlanta, Sonoma, North Wilkesboro, and the Roval. So there was a tweet of Sonoma, which was just repaved a few months ago, and there's already cracks in the surface. And Denny Hamlin started chirping, and he's like, "Oh, North Wilkesboro is going to be next." And then Marcus Smith replied, and yeah, da 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 da. They went back and forth. Um, but anyways, SMI has been known to not reconfigure their racetracks in the best way. Texas, we all know what happened there. Atlanta, apparently they've had to do patches on the track already, and the track's only been paved for a few years. Sonoma, they just showed pictures of Sonoma cracks coming up at the surface there. Apparently, there's already some issues going on with North Wilkesboro, and they just repaved that a few weeks ago. They converted the Charlotte Oval to the Oval for the road course in the fall for Charlotte Motor Speedway. So, and then you have the NASCAR tracks on the other hand, like Daytona. They just did a brand new fan experience there. Matthew's been there. Phoenix, they did a brand new infield there. Richmond, I was just there. If you watched my vlog, they redid the fan zone there not too long ago. Talladega, Kansas. Those are also some tracks that have gotten some recent upgrades. So we see these NASCAR tracks putting more effort into the facilities where the SMI tracks, they're not really doing that. So NASCAR drivers are a bit upset. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out to you guys real quick. I don't really have an opinion on it. Honestly, the beef between Smith and Denny, that got, too personal too quick. But as for, I can side with the drivers and the fact that they don't see where this money from SMI is going. So yeah, apparently, according to Denny's podcast, he's put it behind him, but hopefully some kind of charter deal can get put up soon in the near future. But Matthew, what are your quick thoughts on that before we go ahead and finish this video up?
As for the whole beef itself, I'm not taking either side here because I thought both of them were extremely childish. I mean, Denny Hamlin bringing up his late, I mean, Smith's late father into that was out of bounds. But Marcus Smith was sounding like Shaq when Charles Barkley roasts him and he brings up his rings all the time. I got 4 rings. How many you have? And he's keep bringing up no championships. It was just yeah. Both of them look like a bunch of spoiled millionaire brats, basically. Um, it was kind of embarrassing look for NASCAR, to be honest. But and as for the reason why, because the whole revenue thing, this whole thing is stupid. That these tracks are really getting more money than the teams. Um, Now NASCAR, ISC, they have put money into it. Even though I think they should do more, like Homestead, Miami absolutely needs a total renovation there. Same thing with Michigan. Um, but they have at least put some of that money. They've done something with it at least. SMI, meanwhile, they've done nothing. The only thing they've really done is revive North Wilkesboro, even though that was pretty pretty much because of public funds. It wasn't because of them putting their money in it. Um, they reconfigured Atlanta, which hey, that is a big win. I'll give them credit. That turned out to be the best ticket in the house right now. So credit to that. They changed, they made the Charlotte Roval, which, hey, I don't care what people say. I will defend Charlotte Roval until the day I die. I love that whole, I love that whole road course. Um, Even though the oval racing is fantastic, I still like the Roval just because of how unique it is. And I love how it's one of the few road courses where you can actually see everything from the grandstands. So I don't care. I'll defend Charlotte Roval any day. Just my opinion. Um, but yeah, they've had a lot of L's as well with Texas, which absolutely needs no introduction there. And all the different in Kentucky, which is now an abandoned racetrack now. So yeah, the fact that these tracks are getting more money than the teams is absolutely pathetic. The teams here are the bigger brands. No one's coming to this certain track to watch an empty track. They are there to watch the teams compete. They're not there to see the track. Okay. Um. So yeah, teams should be getting more money. Tracks should be less. They should be giving less to SMI in general because they clearly are being cheap, which is pathetic. So, yeah, that's my opinion.
Alright, sorry this video has gotten a little bit long, but we did have a lot to talk about. That whole, beef thing was all over social media, so we want to give our 2 cents on it real quick. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know your thoughts about the race down below. Let us know your thoughts about the short track package down below, about the beef down below. Just let us know all your kind of thoughts about what has went on this past week. Crazy week for NASCAR. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. We will see you guys in the next one.